Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Michelle.
So here we have the cubing material task cards. Can you tell us a little bit about them,
We
please?
do. One of my favorite materials as an upper elementary teacher is the cubing material. It's that large wooden, it's usually in a trapezoid box. You have to be very careful with it. It is the heaviest Montessori material in any of our classrooms. And also, it really is, I'd almost consider this end game for arithmetic for upper elementary. Once you are cube rooting a 9-digit number, I think we can agree
Yes.
that that's a pretty
Yes.
abstract, that's a pretty lofty thing to be able to do. And so the cubing material is this, like I say, a long set of materials that take you from the concept of a cube all the way to being able to both do cubing of larger numbers and also find the cube roots of numbers. And these are task cards. So these are task cards that you would show to the child, that you would present to them after you have given them the presentation, and then it's available. It's right, it goes in this beautiful box, it sits on your shelf, and now it's independent work that the child can access on their own. Their answers are all on the back, so the child is able to check and correct their own work. As an upper elementary child, they're often doing these together with friends. So again, it's a work that they no longer need the teacher. So by the time you've done this, you are confident that they're able to access it independently. They're going to understand it without having to have you, because that's not the point. The point is we want them to be able to do this independently, at least independently with friends. Another thing I like about this set of cards is, they are all, they're divided out. So we have, this is the whole set of cards, and you get quite a bit of cards here. And they're also, they're delineated into different sections, and those sections are by complexity. And so for the first one, you're just asking the child for each different number, can you write the different powers? Can you write them 2 to the first power, 2 to the second power, 2 to the third power, and going through all the different numbers. That might be a presentation that you give, and then you can say, okay, so the first set of cards are available for you to work on. And then some time goes by, and now you say, I've got something new I'm going to show you. And you get out the cubing material, and you take out the cubes and you show, like, this is how we're going to go from a cube to a successive cube. Just means this is how we go from a 4 cube to a 5 cube, a 5 cube to a 6 cube. So we're adding on to the cube to get to the next one. This gives you lots of different examples to do that. So now you've given that presentation, and you say, well, now you can get to these task cards. And so now they're going to take them, go from a 5 to a 6, from a 6 to a 7, 7 to an 8. From there, once we see that there's a certain amount of facility, confidence in the child, now they're going to move to doing it with non-successive cubes. And so they're going from a 5 to an 8. And we might well ask, well, why are we doing, what's the utility of going from a cube to a non-successive cube? And it's because when we do that, we're actually setting them up for the binomial cubing formula. If I'm going from a 5 to an 8, I'm actually adding a 5 cube, and then I'm supplementing that with a 3 cube to add them together. Well, 5 plus 3 can very easily become 50 and 3 if we start. So now we've got instead of cubing a single digit, or now we're cubing a single digit, but now it's like the power of 10. And so we go from there. Then we introduce the actual formula. So the algebraic binomial formula, again, comes from a series of presentations that you're giving. Again, one of those, we all learned it in high school. We all learned it in algebra. We learned it because we had to memorize it for that quiz that was a week from Wednesday, and then we promptly forgot it. Because it was just all memorization, it was just all in the textbook. And so as a Montessorian, we would argue that it's not just what the child learned, but how they learned it. They internalized it because they were actually using physical cubes. If I'm giving a tour and I say, like, okay, so and the formula, a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3b squared a plus b cubed, I always get just a blank stare, even though I can tell them confidently, you knew it at one point in your life, you just forgot it. And so we go through the binomial, and then we go through the to the trinomial, and then so on. So it takes us a nice companion to all the different presentations that we're going to give to that I'm going to say older upper elementary,
Yes.
so you're 10, you're 11, you're 12-year-old by the time that they're working on this work. And it also comes with a nice little primer, if you will, on how do I go from a successive cube to a non-successive cube. So even though they've done it with the teacher, it's nice to, if they needed to, it's nice that they have a guide to like, oh yeah, that's how we did it, as they're doing their written work as well.
Okay, thank you so much for the explanation.
Sure.